Opposite rays would be a case of two rays that have a common end point and form a line. Take an example. I start with a common end point. We'll call it P. Here's a ray. It goes through Q. So I have the ray PQ. I'll draw another ray. It starts at P, goes the opposite direction, and it passes through R. So that means I have the ray PR. Now notice, I list the end point first and the direction I'm going second. So even though the ray is going off here, to this direction, I still write it going left to right, and I point my arrow left to right. So even though it points right to left, I always state end point first and then direction. So this ray from here to here is ray PR. Now together, these two rays form a line RQ. That makes them opposite rays. If I were to do something like this, there are two rays. They have a common endpoint. But notice that they don't make a line. That makes them not opposite rays. Likewise, I might have this ray and this ray. They do form a line together, but they have different starting points. So they are also not opposite rays. Only when they start at the same point and form a line are they called opposite rays. The last bit of vocab for section 1 is postulate. Now this is a statement assumed to be true without proof. These are very rare in geometry. Outside of about 11 postulates, everything else we come up with is something that we can prove is true in all cases. Most of geometry is based on writing these proofs. A postulate, on the other hand, represents the statements we simply begin with, things we assume to be true in order to have an argument. This is actually not that uncommon. Our Declaration of Independence, for example, starts off by saying, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That phrase, inalienable truths, that was Jefferson's way of saying, look, we can all agree that men get life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I don't need to prove it in the essay I'm currently writing. A postulate is the same thing in geometry. We all simply agree these statements are true. We're not going to prove them. And from these statements, we're going to make other arguments and prove other things. So postulate is that statement where there is no proof for it. We also use the term axiom, A-X-I-O-M, to represent postulate. They're interchangeable or synonyms.
Daddy loves you.
Say goodnight, Serendipity.